नमः पार्वती पतये गोविंद नाम संकीर्तनम्
श्रीकांतो मातुलो यस्य जननी सर्वमंगला जनक शंकरो देवः तं वंदे कुंजराननं श्यामवल्ली समालीढं विरिञ्चिपुरभास्वरं मार्गबन्ध्वाह्वयं तेजः तनोतु विमलां धियं श्रीमत्क्षीरतरङ्गिणी तटगते पुण्ये विरिञ्चे पुरे नित्यं सन्निहितं किला कलयितुं क्षीराभिषेकादरं श्रीगारुत्मतवल्लिका सहचरं मार्गे सहायं नृणां श्रीमद्दीक्षितवंशदैवतवरं सञ्चिन्तये शङ्करम् इदं च रङ्गं त्यजतामिहाङ्गं न विद्यतेऽङ्गै वास्तु चाङ्गं पाणौ रथाङ्गं शयने भुजङ्गं याने विहङ्गं चरणे च गाङ्गं कावेरी तटशोभिरङ्गनगर प्राग्भागजम्बूतरुप्रान्तोद्यन्मणिसद्मनि स्थितमधो जम्बूतरो स्थायिनः लूते भार्चितरङ्गनाथ वरदं भक्त्याखिलाण्डेश्वरी पूजा निर्मित सज्जलाकृतिधरं श्रीजम्बुनाथं भजे श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् उमाकान्ते रमाकान्ते येषामासीन्मतिः समा नमामि दीक्षितेन्द्रांस्तान्नयशक्कविशारदान् अप्पय्य दीक्षितेन्द्रान् अशेष विद्यागुरूनहं वन्दे यत्कृतिबोधा बोधौ विद्वद विद्वद्विभाजकोपाधि नमस्कारम. So we have finished Tarangam 2 of Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra Vijayam, and we are entering into Tarangam 3. So in KV Subramanya Shastrigal's Dikshitendra Vijayam, Tarangam 2 gets over with the Vivaha Vaibhavam of Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra. And in last class, we studied about the greatness of the Vaibhavam that took place in Dikshitendra's marriage. And we also studied how the Brahmanas were sumptuously fed and how the Brahmanas were generously given Svarnadanam in the wedding of Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra. And Danam was performed to the Brahmanas in such a way that all the Brahmanas became Aparna as a result of Svarnadanam, and as a result of offering Bhojanam to the Brahmanas, all the banana trees were bereft of any leaves in them. Aparnamasit kadali tarunam nakevalam vrindamapi dvijanam. So this is a very important shloka which we studied last class. So the vrindam of kadali taru, so even that became aparnam, and the vrindam of the Brahmanas also became aparnam. So this is a very, very important shloka. And what is the, when we discussed that the groups of Brahmanas became aparnam. So wow, the meaning of this is apakatam rinam yasmat tat aparnam. So one whose depths have been cleared, so that is known as aparnam. So such a vrindam or group is known as aparnam. So what are the depths which the Brahmanas have? Did the Brahmanas have any housing loan or anything like that? Any loan, anything that is material? So what loan? What are the debt? What is the meaning of the word rinam here? எத்தனையோ கடன் இருக்கலாம் ஒருத்தருக்கு. So what is the meaning of the word rinam here in this shloka? So once again we should remember the Shastra Vakyam that Jayamanoha Vai Brahmanaha Tribhihi Rinaihi Rinavan Jayate. So whenever a Jivatma takes birth as a Brahmana, he takes birth with 3 depths along with him. And what are those 3 depths? Depth number 1 is Devaranam, depth towards the Devatas. The second depth is Rishirinam, depth towards the Vedic Maharshis. And the third one is Pitranam, depth towards the ancestors. So whenever a Jivatma is born as a Brahmana, he is born with these 3 depths. And how do these 3 depths get cleared? So the Shastram says, Brahmacharyena Rishibhyaha. So by observing Brahmacharya, here the word Brahmacharyam does not mean celibacy. The word Brahmacharyam means Vedadhyayanam. By performing Vedadhyayanam, a Brahmana gets cleared of Rishirinam. By performing the Yajnams, he gets cleared of Devaranam. The Yajnams that have been enjoined in the Shrauta Sutras, by performing them, he gets cleared of Devaranam. And by begetting children in the righteous way, Putranutpadya Dharmataha says Shastra. So a man has to, a Brahmana, a Grihastha Brahmana has to beget children in the Shastrokta Vidhana. So when he enters into a marriage against the Shastra Vakyam, so he will never attain Shreyas. So we see many such marriages taking place today. So all those marriages are not dharmic marriages. So only when a Brahmana gets married to a woman of the same Varna and different Gotra, and only then he can beget children Satprajas. So otherwise the children born to him can never be considered as Satprajas. And as Bhagavad Gita says in the first chapter, Shankaro Narakayaiva. So he talks about Varna Sankaram in the first chapter. So such children can never be called as Dharma Prajas, and there will be no Shreyas to the family by such children. So this is a very, very important thing we should know today. So Putranutpadya Dharmataha. So by getting children in the righteous way and by performing all the Pitrikarmas, a Brahmana can get cleared of the Pitranam. Only when a Brahmana gets cleared of these 3 depths, he is eligible to take, and only then he is eligible to study Vedantam, only then he is eligible to take up sannyasam and tread on the path of moksha. As long as a Brahmana is not cleared of these 3 depths, he can never take sannyasa, he can never study Vedanta Shastram, because Vedanta Shastram is moksha Shastram. So it is on Vedanta Shastram that can give mukti. So it is only the cultivation of Nirvishesha Jnanam that gives mukti to a Jivatma. So Sakshan Moksha Hetutvam is there only for Jnanam. So direct mukti takes place only through Jnana Marga. And Karma Margam and Bhakti Marga, so these two paths culminate in Jnanam, and Jnanam gives mukti directly. So that is the importance of Vaidika karmas. So as a result of this, what happened is, the Brahmanas got required money. So after receiving Svarnadanam, the Brahmanas acquired sufficient money to perform various Shrauta karmas, because all they had sufficient money to perform Pitru Pujana. They had sufficient money to engage in Vedadhyanam and get their children engaged in Vedadhyanam. So this is the meaning of it. And of all these, the performance of Shrauta karmas is very, very important, because to perform any Shrauta karma, it requires a lot of money. So performing one Shrauta Yajnam, only one Yajnam alone, so it takes around 15 to 20 lakhs. So in today's budget, so if we have to talk in terms of today, so on an average, a Yajnam costs around 15 to 20 lakhs. So a Yajnam, so no, Yajnams like Agnishtomam, Atyagnistomam, Vajapayam, so all these cannot be performed by one single person alone. So many Brahmanas, many people can join together and only then perform such yajnams. So all these yajnams are bahuvitta sadhyaha. They can be performed only when a person has a lot of money, or when a group of people have a lot of money, only then they can perform yajnams. And only when these yajnams are performed, chitta shuddhi occurs, the purification of mind. So purification of mind occurs in two ways. So the one way is the practice of smarta karmas, and the other way is the practice of shrauta karmas. So only when the shrauta smarta karmas are performed meticulously in the shastropta vidhanam, only then chitta shuddhi takes place. Only when chitta shuddhi takes place, a person is eligible to obtain the phalam of Vedanta Adhyayan. To study the Vedantam theoretically, anybody can do that. Anybody who has a very good knowledge of Vyakarana Shastram, anyone who has a very good knowledge of Tarka Shastram, anyone who has a very good knowledge of Purva Mimamsa Shastram, so he can enter into the study of Vedanta Shastram. So it as an intellectual exercise, he can engage in the study and teaching of Vedanta Shastram. But to obtain the phalam of it, the fruit of the study of Vedanta, he should be a karmanusthana nishtha. So he should be engaged in the performance of Vaidika karmas. So a Brahmana, so he should perform the karmas by himself. And for yajnams, like for karmas, Vaidika karmas like Shrautam, so ordinary people like us, so we Laukikas, we cannot perform these yajnams. So it is the duty of each one of us to take, to devote at least some amount of our earnings to Shrautam. So Pitru Karma, so we have, annually we perform Pitru Karma, Shradham at our homes. So there is nobody, so no Astika would say that Shradham la na angathala panna maata enga appaka, appadi yaru solla maata. No, Shradham padrathu, it is a very, very important thing. No Astika would say that Masamasa Ammavasa Tarpanam padrathu idella panna maatengiradu, nobody would say. So any right thinking Astika would perform all the Ammavasa Tarpanams. So in the same way, just like how all the Ammavasa Tarpanams and Shradham, how these Pitru Karmas are important, Shrauta Karmas are very, very important for us. If we fail to perform Shradhams in our homes, so our ancestors will be, so they will not get the Pindam from us. So the Pindam which the sun gives from this material planet, this earthly planet, so that reaches his father, mother, his grandfather, grandmother, great-grandfather, great-grandmother. So 3 generations of ancestors who are there in Pitrulokam. So only when he gives Pindam here in this planet, it will reach the ancestors who are living, who reside as Pitras in the Pitrulokam. In the same way, the Brahmanas of this material planet, is the duty of the Brahmanas of this material planet to perform Shrauta Karmas. So only when the Shrauta Karmas are performed, something known as Havirbhagam is offered in Agni Devata's Ahuti. So only when this Havirbhagam is offered as Ahuti in Agni Devata will take this Havirbhagam to the Devatas who are residing in Svargaloka. So that is the food for the Devatas. So the Pindam is the food for the ancestors living in Pitraloka. In the same way, the Havirbhagam which the Brahmanas offer in Shrauta Yajnams, so that is the food for the Devatas who reside in Svargaloka. So just like how each one of us spend some amount of our earnings for annual Shradham, just like how we devote some amount of earnings for Amavasa Tarpanam. So in the same way, we'll have to dedicate some amount of our earnings to perform Shrauta karmas. So without performing Shrauta karmas, we will not attain Shreyas. Only when we perform Shrauta karmas, we will attain Shreyas. So we may be performing Sandhyavandanam. So we may be performing all the Vaidika karmas strictly. In the same way, some amount of our earnings should go towards Shrautam. So that is very, very important. And we might have heard in all the Itihasa Puranams. So whenever the force of Asuras gets stronger in the world, so the Devatas, so they will, the first thing which they do is, they will stop the Brahmanas from performing yagams. They will stop the Brahmanas from giving Havirbhagam to the Devatas. And all the Indradi Devatas will either approach Bhagavan Vishnu or Bhagavan Shiva. They will approach Brahmadeva. They will say that we are not receiving our Havirbhagam properly, and as a result of that we are suffering. And then Bhagavan has to take avataram. So Bhagavan Narayana has to take avataram here in the Bhuloka. Either Devi has to take avatara. So only after any of the Devatas take avatara, so they engage in battles with the Asuras. They defeat the Asuras, and once again Dharma is established. And when Dharma is established, the very first thing that is done is all the Shrauta karmas will be restored. And only when the Shrauta karmas are restored, Devatas will start getting the supplies of their Havirbhagam once again. So that is the importance of Shrauta karmas. So it is very, very important for all of us to donate some amount of money at least from our annual earnings to Shrauta karma. So that is very, very important. Eppadi Pitru karma Shradham eppadi mukyamo adhe mari varsha varsham koncham panamavada namba kudukanum. Ava shaktike tagina mari kudukanumgiradu vandu namma kadama athana peru. So with this, the second tarangam of Dikshitendra Vijayam gets over. And now we enter into the third tarangam of Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra Vijayam, composed by Sri K.V. Subramanya Shastri. The first topic discussed by him here is Jyotishtoma. So there is a yajnam named Jyotishtoma. So the very first yajnam which Appayya Dikshitendra performed was Jyotishtoma. Gachata kalena panchayajnananushthani nirtaha yathavadanushthitaashtakadi saptapaka yajna samsthaha samacharita jnadheyadi saptahaviryajna samsthaha. And then he says, Arthina samarthaha yuvano vidvamsashcheme dikshitendraha brahmanya sampurtikamaha vasishtha sadrikshaihi shrotriyadhyakshaihi nirvyudhartvijyadhuraha swagrame somena yajneshparamaya
சொன்னார் அவர் என்ன சொன்னார்னு எல்லாமே ஒரு book
I mean, I hear noise somewhere. Yeah. So, Gachata Kalena. So, with the passage of time after his marriage, so how was Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra? How did he lead his life as a grihastha? Panchayajnananushthana nirataha. So he was engaged in performing the 5 Mahayajnas. So the 5 Mahayajnas are Deva Yajnam, Pitru Yajnam, Manushya Yajnam, Bhuta Yajnam, and Brahma Yajnam. So these are the 5 Yajnams. These are the 5 Mahayajnas. These are known as Panchamahayajnas. And then Yathavadanushthita Ashtakadi Saptapaka Yajna Samsthaha. So he was engaged in the performance of 7 Paka Yajnas. And then he was engaged in the performance of 7 Havir Yajnas. He was engaged in the performance of 7 Soma Yajna Samstha. So there is something known as Soma Yajna Samstha. There is something known as Havir Yajna Samstha. So there is something known as Paka Yajna Samstha. So what are these? So there are Vaidika karmas. So the 7 Paka Yajnams are, so there is something known as Ashtaka Shraddham, Parvanam, and then Shraddham, Shravani, Agrahayani, Chaitri, Ashvaiji. So all of these are technical terms. And then there are 7 Haviri Yajnas. There are a group of Yajnas known as Sapta Haviri Yajnas. And there are known as Sapta Haviri Yajna Samstha. So these are Agnyadhe, Agnihotram, Darshapurnamasam, Agrayanam, Chaturmasyam, Nirudha Pashubandham, and Sautramani. So these are 7 Haviri Yajnas. And there are 7 Soma Yajnas. So the 7 Soma Yajnas are Agnishtomam, Ukthyam, Shodashi, Atyagnistomam, Atiratram, Aptoryamam, and Vajapayam. So these are known as 7 Soma Yajnas. So these are these are technical terms, and all of the only when a Brahmana performs all of these, he can attain completeness of his Brahminhood. Only when he performs all of these yajnas in his lifetime, his Brahminhood will be complete. A Brahmana who does not perform all of these yajnas meticulously, his Brahminhood is never complete. And a Brahmana who is not qualified to perform, so because not all Brahmanas are qualified to take up Agnihotra. So in that case, it is his duty to help Brahmanas who are engaged in Agnihotra. So that is the duty of the entire Brahmana community. And Arthinas Samarthaha. So he says Arthinaha. So Arthinaha is a person who is wealthy. So it means Dikshitendra was, he had the financial ability to perform all of these yajnas. And Samarthaha, he had the physical ability to do all of them. Because it is not easy to perform a lot of Vaidika karmas. Only when a person has a robust health, he can observe, even to observe the basic Madi and Acharam, it requires a lot of good health. So when that is the case, to perform highly complicated Vaidika karmas, a lot of health is required. So that is Arthinas Samarthaha. Yuvanaha Vidvan, he was a youngster. And Vidvamsasche me Dikshitendraha, he was a very good scholar. He was an expert in the performance of Vaidika karmas. So the word Vidvan here, we can interpret it in 2 ways. So theoretically, when a person has the knowledge of all the Vaidika karmas, so he is a Vidvan of one kind. So generally, those Vidvan who study Purva Mimamsa Shastram, so they will be experts in the theoretical aspects of Vaidika karmas. And those, so they may not be having practical exposure to Shrautam, so that they may not be having that. On the other hand, there may be one group of Brahmanas who will have the practical knowledge of performing various yajnams. So they will be having the practical knowledge, expertise and knowledge in performing the different procedures in various Shrauta karmas. But they might have not studied Purva Mimamsa Shastram theoretically. But Dikshitendra had both of these qualities in him. Theoretically, he was an expert in Purva Mimamsa. He was one of the topmost philosophers of Purva Mimamsa Shastram. And practically, he had the expertise to perform all the Shrauta Yajnams during his lifetime. So that was the eminence of Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra. That was the eminence of his father, his great-grandfather, and all the members of his family. They were very great experts in practically, on one hand, theoretically, they were very great experts in Purva Mimamsa Shastra. On the other hand, they were very great experts in practically performing all the Shrauta karmas. So, in olden days, there were many expert Agnihotris. They used to perform many procedures without having to do any prayashchitta. So, if any procedure is performed wrongly, they will have to do elaborate prayashchittam for it and then redo the same procedure once again. So, there used to be some expert Agnihotris who will perform all the procedures in such a way that there is no requirement to do prayashchitam and then redo the same procedure once again. So that way, Dikshitendra was a Vidwan in both the ways as far as the yajnas are concerned. Vidvamsasche me Dikshitendraha Brahmanya Sampurti Kamaha. So a the Brahminhood of a Brahmana is complete only when he performs all of these Vaidika karmas in his lifetime. And to even perform these yajnas, so it requires aneka janma samsiddhaha tato yati param gatim. So one has to work hard in innumerable lifetimes to achieve the status of an Agnihotri. So it is not an easy task. And then after obtaining the status of an Agnihotri, only when he is engaged in the performance of Shrauta karmas, with Smartha karmas and Shrauta karmas, and only when he engages himself in Bhagavad Aradhanam, only when he engages himself in the study of all the Shastrams, Tarka Shastram, Purva Mimamsa Shastram and Vedanta Shastram, only then a Brahmana is eligible to attain Mukti. Until then, there is he has to keep wandering in the ocean of samsara over and over again many times. So apart from the karma marga, Bhagavad Bhakti is important, Bhagavad Aradhanam is very important. So the journey is very, very long and it is very, very important for us. And Brahmanya Sampurti Kamaha Vasishtha Sadrikshaihi Shrotriyadhyakshaihi. And how did he have the Ritviks in his Yagashala? He says Shrotriyadhyakshaihi. So those Brahmanas who are experts in the practice of Shrotam, Shrotriyadhyaksha, and they resembled Vasishtha Maharshi when it comes to the performance of Shrauta karmas. So with such Brahmanas, he performed Somena Yajneshwaram Ayajanta. So Swagra means he was residing in his own village and he worshipped Bhagavan Yajneshwara through Somayana. And the other word he uses here is Nirdhyudhartvijyadhuraha. Artvijyam is the state of being an Upadhyaya for a Yajnam. So that is the state of being a Ritvik is known as Artvijyam. So in this way, Dikshitendra performed all of these during his lifetime. So and then he starts, then K.V. Subramanya Shastrigal begins to describe the greatness of Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra's Jyotishtoma Yajna. And once again here, while describing his Jyotishtoma Yajna, he describes it using a very big Gadyam, which has 8 segments. So earlier, while studying the first Tarangam of Dikshitendra Vijayam, so while describing the greatness of Dikshitendra's father Rangarajadhvari, so we studied how he described the greatness of Rangarajadhvari using 7 vibhaktis in Sanskrit grammar. Yecha diganta vishranta yashadam Dikshitendranam pitrasthanochitam bhakya paripaka paramparam apedire. So starting from vibhakti 1, then vibhakti 2, vibhakti 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So in this way, he described the greatness of Dikshitendra's father in Tarangam 1. In the same way, in a similar structure, he described the greatness of Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra's performing Jyotishtoma Yajna. So 7 vibhaktis in Sanskrit have been used. So in Sanskrit, there is something known as Shabda Prakaranam, something known as Dhatu Prakaranam. So Ramaha Ramo Ramaha, Ramam Ramo Raman, Kelvi Patrupet. So this is Shabda Rupam appadinu peru. So these are the basics in Sanskrit grammar. So the prepositions class only English. So this is something similar to that. So using a word as subject, using a word as predicate, apra with and by use pandrathu, to, from, of, apra apostrophe s use pandrathu, in and on use pandrathu. So all of these we have in English language, in English grammar, and in the grammar of any language we have all of these. So all of these are studied under the heading of Shabda Prakaranam in Sanskrit grammar. So says K.V. Subramanya Shastrigal, Yascha Yajnaha Ghatodhininam Havirdobdhirinam Sampurna Ghrita Kshiradi Sampurna Kshira Ghritaadi Satvika Dravya Pariposhama Vindata Yamcha Sputakshara Hridayangamaihi Swahakara Vashatkaradi Dhvani Bhir Bhasvaram Darsham Darsham Amandamanandam Anubhavantaha Gishpati Pramukhaha Lekhaha Apyamuhyan Yenacha Ikshudraksha Kshiradadhipanaka Hayyanga Veenadi Bahuvida Rasadravya Nivahaihi Samapyayitaha Martyaha Amartya Bhavam Tulayapi Namanyanta Yasmai Chak Kshamapayaha Dikshitendra Nugraha Kamyaya Kanchana Peethambara Mukta Phaladini Anarghani Dravyani Samanaishuhu Yasmacha Bhakshyabhojya Lehyachoshyatmaka Chaturvidha Annajataihi Pratoshitanam Brahmananam Ashirvadena Jagatam Bhadrani Pradurabhavan Yasya Chakrite Deshantariya Apisumanasah Kamaniyani Havakshamala Dukuladini Upayanani Samupaja Hruhu Yasmishcha Devata Dhyana Purasaram Juhvatam Ritwijam Mantra Brahmana Sausvaryam Sarvesham Apisumanasam Apaurusheye Vede Atitaram Vishwasam Udapadayatu Tadrishe Somayage Pradakshinavarta Shikhaha Havyagandhaha Vaitanagnaya Sadasyan Pavayantaha Itaranapi Yajnadhikarinaha Yajne Pravartayan Chakruhu says K.V. Subramanya Shastri. So let us examine this segment. This is one single sentence. So the whole of what I told you now, so it is one single sentence starting from Yashcha Yajnaha Ghatodhininam Havirdodhrinam Sampurna Ghrita Kshiradi Satvika Dravya Pariposhama Vindata. So all of this, so this is the first, it begins here and it ends with Itaranapi Yajnadhikarinaha Yajne Pravartayan Chakruhu. So the whole of this is a very big sentence. So it has got 8 segments. So 7 segments are 7 vibhaktis. Prathama, Dvitiya, Tritiya, Chaturthi, Panchami, Shashti, Saptami. So 7 vibhaktis. So the Yat Shabdam that is used in the first 7 segments, and in the last segment Tat Shabdam is used. Yashcha Yajnaha. So the Prathama vibhakti is used in this particular segment. Yashcha Yajnaha Ghatodhininam Havirdogdhrinam Sampurna Ghrita Kshiradi Satvika Dravyahi Pariposhama Vindata. So this is the first segment and the Prathama vibhakti is given here. Yashcha Yajnaha, that Yajna Ghatodhininam. The word Ghatodhini and Havirdogdhri, these are Visheshanams or adjectives of cows. Veda Lakshana Gauhu, not to Pasumada. So why cows are known as Ghatodhini? So when the udder of a cow is completely filled with milk, so in the morning time and evening time when the milking time comes, so the udder is completely filled with milk. And at this time it is like, we'll have to leave the calf to the mother, and the calf has to take its share of milk, and the remaining share has to be taken by human beings. So at this time, when the milking time has arrived, at that time, when the udder is completely filled, a cow is known as Ghatodhini. So once the milking is finished, we may not call her as Ghatodhini. But a young female calf, so we may not call her as Ghatodhini. And in the same way, olden cows who have stopped giving milk, so we cannot call them as Ghatodhini. So only when a cow's udder, only at that time, that particular time of a day during the morning and evening, so when the milking time has arrived, only at that time it is known as Ghatodhini. And Havirdogdhri means Havihi Dogdhiti Havirdogdhri. So because cows give Havis or Ghritam or ghee, they are known as Havirdogdhyaha, Havirdogdhri. So, while explaining the different aspects of a yagam, the very first thing that he describes here is the greatness of cow. So without cow, no yajnam can take place. And once again, here, the cows here, it refers only to the Veda Lakshana Gauhu, the native Indian breeds of cows. So for any Vaidika karma, so for any puja for Norman, for Abhishekam for Shivalingam, so for any no, for any kind of puja, we cannot take the milk of Jersey cows or Holstein cows. So the milk of exotic breeds of the cow, milk of foreign cow breeds should never be taken for Devata Aradhana. In the same way, even for Shraddham, only the ghritam of native Indian cow breeds should only be used, during Shraddham also, even for all Pitrikarmas. So the Kshiram, ghritam of native Indian cows should only be used. In the same way, even in Shrautam, in for Nitya, in the houses of Agnihotri Brahmanas, the Kshiram and Gritams of Veda Lakshana Gauhu, native Indian cows, only that can be used. So in the same way, so that is the importance of, so without cows, there is no, it's no Sanatana Dharma at all without cows. And then he says, Sampurna Kshira Gritadi Satvikaihi Dravyaihi Pariposhama Vindata. So the yajnam abounded in nourishment with the sattvic dravyam, the sattvic materials that were obtained from Gomata. So it is only the Gokshiram, Goghritam. So all these are required for any yajnam to abound in nourishment. So it is this Havir Bhagam. So this Havis meansGhritam. So it is this Havir Bhagam that will reach the Devatas who are living in Swargaloka. So it is this Havir Bhagam, that is this Havis that is there in the cows. So that is very, very important for the Devatas. So that is why we say Go Brahmanebhya Shubhamastu Nityam. So on one hand, the Havir Bhagam requires two things. So on one hand, cows are required for the Havir Bhagam of the Devatas. On the other hand, the mantras, the Vaidika mantras reside in the Brahmanas. So only when the Brahmanas chant the Vedika mantra, the Vaidika mantras, only then the Havir Bhagam will reach the Devatas who reside in the Swarga Loka. So that is why there is the famous Purana Vachanam, Gavashcha Brahmanashchaiva Kulamekam Dvidhakritam Ekatra Mantras Tishthanti Havirekatra Tishtati. The cows and Brahmanas belong to one and the same family, and they have been separated into two entities by Brahmadeva. Ekatra mantraha tishthanti. So the mantras reside in one family member. Havirekatra tishtati. Havis or Ghritam resides in the other family member. So in this way, cows are an integral part of our dharma. And strictly according to the Shastras, it is the duty of every follower of Sanatana Dharma to have homes, to have cows and the cows in their homes. So even there is something known as Anhikam. So Anhikam brings the day-to-day activities for a sadhaka. So there are many different groups of sadhakas. There are brahmacharis, grihasthas, vanaprasthas, sannyasis. People following different varnas, brahmachara, brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya, shudra, and there are women. And once again, based on the upasana margas which people follow, so there are many different classifications. So there are people who follow Shaivagamas. There are people who follow Vaishnavagamas. So there are Shri Vidyopasaka. So there is something known as Anhikam for Shri Vidyopasaka. Anhikam for Shivacharyas who follow Shaivagamas. Anhikams for Brahmanas who follow Pancharatra Agamam, Vaishnava Pancharatra Agamam, and Vaikhanas Agamam, the Vaishnava Vaikhanas Agamam. In the same way, there is Anhikam for Agnihotris, Anhikam for Sannyasis, and Anhikam for non-Agnihotri Grihastha Brahmanas, Anhikam for Brahmacharis, Anhikam for Stris. So Anhikam is, day-to-day activities which we'll have to perform from early morning to night. So doing Go Seva on a daily basis, so that is also it's a part of our Anhikam. Just like Sandhyavandanam is Nitya Karma Anushtanam. So in the same way, offering service to the cows on a daily basis, so it is a very, very important thing for us. Only when we serve the cows, today it is not practically possible for people to keep cows at home. So it is the duty of all the followers of Sanatana Dharma to go to a Gosha, the nearest Goshala, at least once in 2 days, once in a week, once in 3 days, to offer service to the cows. So Tanman Dhanse, so there is a proverb, so when we say Shariratnala Pasumatika Kainkaryam Pananu. So as long as we have physical strength in our body, it is our duty to offer service to the cows. So whatever makes, so even if we have the financial ability to keep a lot of servants at home, so even if we are highly affluent, so as long as we have the physical ability to do menial works, it is our duty to do service to the cows physically. Gosha, Goshtha, Kaushet, better. அங்க கோமயம் அல்றது பசுமாட்டு அது பண்றது அது எல்லாமே பண்ணணும். பசுமாட்டு குளிப்பாடுறது அட்லீஸ்ட் எப்பயாவது ஒரு தடவை வாலண்டியர் பண்ணி பக்கத்துல இருக்கிற கோஷாலைக்கு போய் பண்ணணும். In the same way, it is our duty to offer grasses, hays and other feeds to the cow. So whatever is possible for us, shariratnala உழைக்கணும் பசுமாட்டுக்காக, மனசுனால உழைக்கணும். So we should study, the Itihasa Purana, those areas of Itihasa Puranams and our Shastras that deal with Go Mahatmyam, study them, understand them, and then disseminate it to people whom we know, and work, use our intelligence for the welfare of cows in the society and people who are in power and position. So they should work towards cow protection. So this is Manasanala Pasumatika Kainkaryam Dhanam. So it is to the best of our capacities, it is the duty of all of us to perform, to donate at least some amount of our earnings for cows. So just like how Pitrakarmas, like Shraddham is important, Pitrakarma Pana Sala Paname Aru Irkamata. Ade Madri Pasumatika Sala Panama Irka, some amount of our earnings should go to the service of cows. Only when the cows are happy, only when the cows are protected, we Brahmanas will remain protected. So in Skanda Puranam, there is a shloka, so there are 7 pillars of the world. So among the 7 pillars, the very first pillar which is said is the cows. Gobhir vipraischa vedaischa satibhi satyavadibhihi. So before, even more than the Brahmanas, the cows are more important. Namma kashtapatta kuda padalam, ana pasumala kashtapadakudadu ulagathula. Because the quality of our Brahmanyam rests in the cows. Evlo pasumata samrakshanama iruko, avlo namma Brahmanyam samrakshananna iruko. The quality, so the more we work towards protecting cows, the more protected will be our quality of Brahmanyam. பசுமாட்டோட இதை நம்ம விட்டுட்டோம்னா, கவு ஸ்லாட்டர் நிறைய நம்ம இடங்கள்ல நடக்க ஆரம்பிச்சுதுனாக்கா, the quality of our Brahmanyam will start getting degenerated. The Brahmanas will start, the Brahmanas and the people following all the other Varnas. ஏன்னா Brahmana நன்னா இருந்தா தான் Kshatriya Vaishya Shudra நன்னா இருக்கலாம். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் பசுமாடு நன்னா இருந்தா தான் Brahmana நன்னா இருக்க முடியும். Brahmana நன்னா இருந்தா தான் Kshatriya Vaishya Shudra எல்லாம் க்ஷேமமா இருக்க முடியும். So that is the importance of cows. So without cows, there is nothing in Sanatana Dharma. So says K.V. Subramanya Shastrigal, Sampurna Kshiragritati Satvikaihi Dravyaihi Pariposhama Vindata. So the first segment of this Gadyam is over. And then he says, Yamcha Sputakshara Hridayangamaihi Swahakara Vashatkaradivi Dvanibhi Bhaswaram Darsham Darshama Mandamananda Manubhavantaha Gishpati Pramukhaha Lekhaha Apyamuhyan. Here the second vibhakti is used. So first vibhaktiங்கிற சப்ஜெக்டா ஒரு வார்த்தை யூஸ் பண்ணனும், அது வந்து பிரதமா விபக்தின்னு வரும். செகண்ட் விபக்தி அப்படின்னா த்விதியா விபக்திங்கிறது ஆப்ஜெக்டா யூஸ் பண்றது, அந்த மாதிரி வந்து இப்ப அதுல வரும். அது நமக்கு yamcha and to that yajna sputakshara hridayangamaihi. Sputaksharam அப்படின்னாக்கா, so anything whose utterance is clear. Sputamna something that is extremely clear and audible, and hridayangamihi something that touches the heart. Svahakara vashatkaradibhir dhvanibhihi. So the words like swaha, words like vashat, so that are being used in a yagashala. So for yagashala oru bhajpayam nadakra yajnam, agnistomam, garuda chayanam indri yagangala nadakra samayathula andanda procedures appa the brahmana enna பண்ணுவா, andanda ரித்விக்கள் வந்து they will utter these the mantras which have these words. அது கேக்குறதுக்கு அவ்வளவு அழகா இருக்கும். You know, it's like the experience of it can never be described in words. Only when we go to a yagashala, யாகசாலையில நின்னுட்டு கேட்கணும், அவ்வளவு ஆனந்தம், அவ்வளவு நன்னா இருக்கும் அது. And the yajna was resplendent with the usage of these words svahakara vashatkaradibhi dhvanibhi bhaswaram. The word bhaswaram means resplendent. On seeing such a yajna, ishpati pramukhaha lekha. So darsham means drishtva. So on seeing such yajnams over and over again, so it means all these yajnams were being performed by the brahmanas repeatedly. Innikala the performance of these yajnas has not drastically reduced. So for the past decades and centuries compare panninonnaka, the performance of all of these karmas have drastically reduced. So அதனால தான் யூஸ் பண்ண the word தர்ஷனம். இப்ப அதை பார்த்துட்டு வந்து சந்தோஷப்படுற தேவதாக்கள் எல்லாரும் அடிக்கடி நிறைய தடவை அந்த யாகங்கள்லாம் நடக்கிறதுன்னு அர்த்தம். ஏன்னா today on one hand it's because of lack of shraddha in people, so that is the reason not many karmas are taking place. Apart from that, even to donate money for a shrauta karma, it requires a lot of sukriti. So there are even moral qualifications for a brahmana to donate money for a shrauta karma. And especially Musri Dikshitendra Iva group la, they'll be very, very strict about it. ஏன்னா திரவியம் வருது, ஒரு யஜ்ஞத்துக்கு வந்து திரவியம் கலெக்ட் பண்றோம்னா சும்மா யார்கிட்டக்க போயிட்டு வேணா பணம் வசூல் பண்றதுங்கிறது பண்ணக்கூடாது. It has to, they'll be very strict about it. So Mahatma Shri Musri Dikshitendra, Periya Mahatma, he was highly respected by Mahaperiva, and it was by Mahaperiva's blessing that he went to very great heights in his life as an Agnihotri, and all of his sons are Nitya Agnihotris. All of his most of his grandsons are Agnihotris. Most of his daughters, all of his daughters are given away to Agnihotris. Most of his granddaughters are given away to Agnihotri Brahmanas, or if they are not Agnihotri Brahmanas, they are given away to very good Vaidika Brahmanas. So that is how their family is even today. Labdha santushti is a quality of a Brahmana. Even today, if we interact with them, பணத்துக்கு ஆசைங்கிறதே இருக்காது அவளுக்கு. ஒரு பிராமணன் வந்து இப்ப ஜெனரலி ஒரு வைதிக கர்மாக்கள் நிறைய போமாட்டாவா. சோ ஸ்ரௌதம்ங்கிறது ஒரு புரோஹித்தியத்துக்கு வெளியில போறதுங்கிறது they have lots of restrictions. சோ ஜெனரலா எல்லாரும் போற மாதிரி வந்து அவ்வளவுக்கு போக மாட்டாங்க முஸ்லி குரூப் இன்னைக்கும் பார்த்தோம்னாக்கா. சோ as a result of it பெரிய இன்கம்ங்கிறது அவளுக்கு லைஃப்ல இருக்காது பாவம். அப்படி இருந்தாலும் அவ்வளவு சந்தோஷமா. So I have many of my own close friends whom I know for the past many years. அப்படி இருந்தாலும் கூட எப்படி சாஸ்திரங்கள்ல எல்லாம் இந்த ஒரு பிராமணன் இப்படி இருக்கணுங்கிறது எப்படி சொல்லியிருக்கோ அதபடி இருப்பா. பணத்துக்காக யார்கிட்டயும் வந்து எதுவும் இது பண்ண மாட்டா. பணத்துக்காக எந்த ஒரு சின்ன தப்பு கூட பண்ண மாட்டா. எவ்வளவு கஷ்டப்பட்ட எவ்வளவு ஏழ்மை இருந்தாலும் கூட. So they will never misuse their position. They will never express greed. So அப்படிப்பட்ட பிராமணா இன்னைக்கு இருக்கா. So அது வந்து இன்னைக்கு இந்த மாதிரி பிராமணா இருக்கிறதுங்கிறது it's purely because of Mahavira's blessings that we have such brahmanas today. And முசிறி தீட்சிதரும் சொல்லுவார், so just funds collect பண்ணணுங்கிறதுக்காக வந்து so to any Tom, Dick and Harry பண்ணக்கூடாது. So to even collect funds from a brahmana ஒரு யஜ்ஞத்துக்கு, I mean there are certain qualifications. So இப்ப நிறைய விஷயங்கள் இருக்கு. So even to donate money to a yajna, it requires a lot of sukriti on the part of an individual. So அவ்வளோ பெரிய யஜ்ஞங்கள், so that is the greatness. So தப்பான ஒரு திரவியம் வந்து போயிட முடியாது. அப்படி போனாக்கா அது வந்து it becomes a very great sin. So இப்ப இதெல்லாம் வந்து all of these we will get to know only when we move with such mahatmas. இருக்கிற இடம் வெளியில தெரியாம வந்து யதாவத் யதாவிதி ஸ்ரௌதத்தை அனுஷ்டானம் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கிறவா, ஸ்ரௌதத்தை இன்னைக்கு சம்ரக்ஷணம் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கிறவா முசிறி தீட்சிதர் and his புத்திர பௌத்ராதி வர்கா and சிஷ்ய வர்கா. So with this we will finish today's Dikshitendra Vijayam class. So there is so much to explain here, so we will see all of that in the next class. So and then he says Gishpati Pramukhaha Lekhaha Apyamuhyan. So Darsham Amandamam Anandam. So the word Amandam means, the word Anandam is happiness. And Amandam Anandam means happiness that knows no bounds. Amandam Anandam Anubhavantaha. Gishpati, the Devatas headed by Brihaspati. So they are known as Gishpati Pramukhaha, Lekhaha, Apyamuhyana. Even those devatas had very great happiness. So with this, the second segment of this Gadyam gets over. Second Vibhakti is over. So from the next class we will see the third Vibhakti of this Gadyam. So with this, today's class is over. Hara Namah Parvati Pataye, Hara Hara Mahadeva.